Hello everyone, Silent here. Welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build an ultra simple, ultra efficient pickle farm for your Minecraft world. This farm right here, no matter how ugly you think it may look, is actually really efficient. This farm right here will get you about 100,000 pickles per hour. Yes, 100,000 pickles. 6 digits. That's too many pickles for any sane person. I don't care how much of a die-hard pickle fan you are. That is too many pickles for anyone to deal with. I'm just letting these things despawn. I don't even have enough storage for all this. So in addition to showing you guys how to build this farm right here, which will give you 100,000 pickles per hour, I'll also be showing you how to build this simpler farm here as well, which will get you about 35 or so thousand pickles per hour, which may be a little bit more towards your liking, but anyway, before we get into the tutorial and the details about this farm, if you guys could please leave a like on the video and maybe also consider subscribing to the channel so you guys don't miss future tutorials, that would be greatly appreciated. And with all that stuff out of the way, let's get into it. So I guess the first thing that we should talk about is why you would actually want sea pickles at all. So besides having them as just a nice aesthetic block underwater or just a nice building block in general, there's actually a very good reason for spreading these around the bottom of the ocean and actually lighting up the entire bottom of the ocean, because now drowns, a zombie variant, can actually spawn underwater in the ocean biomes. And if you've done any amount of exploring around your base whatsoever, you probably have the surface area lit up, and you probably also have a lot of the caves lit up around your base as well. And that means that pretty much the only areas that mobs will be able to spawn around your base will be in water. So this is going to be especially relevant to you people that have ocean side bases or like harbors or guardian farms or anything like that. You're definitely going to want to go around the ocean floor and spam around some pickles. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at the defining feature of both of these farms, and that is going to be size. So you'll notice that both of these farms are 5 by 5, and that is because we're limited by the range at which a pickle grows when you bone meal. So no matter how much you bone meal pickle, it's only ever going to grow in a 5 by 5 diamond around the center one. So we can pop out these again and bone meal that again, and that's pretty much all you're ever going to get from it. Now, pickles will only ever grow when they are on top of a coral block, which is something that I did not know until literally yesterday, so very handy little feature. And that's pretty much all there is to it for the size of the farms. Now, the next couple features to these farms is going to be how we bone meal the pickle, how we harvest the pickles, and how we also collect the drops. So for this one right here, we have a very simple, kind of slow hopper clock going into this one. So it bone meals them. Then for the harvesting, you can see that the pickles don't like to be inside of flowing water, which may or may not be a bug. I am honestly not too sure. Bedrock Edition is very weird with its mechanics. So this could be a thing that stays. It could be a thing that goes tomorrow. I have no idea. Build this farm while you can, I guess. But you'll see that all the pickles get harvested essentially immediately, which makes this a very efficient farm. And then in each of these corners of the 35,000 drop farm, we have one hopper, and that is to keep up with the sheer speed of items. Otherwise, if you had any less hoppers, they would get backed up and you would start losing items. Now for the 100,000 drop farm, it's basically all the same concepts as that one, just upgraded and reinforced. So we have a faster clock here. We have 2 hopper speed input for the dispenser here of bone meal, and that is to keep up with the observer clock. So it's basically getting twice as much bone meal. And then we have all the drops going to the corners, dropping down into water streams, and then funneling around to the front where you can then send it off to your storage system. So honestly, really basic stuff. There is not too much to say about it, although I know I've already been rambling for a couple minutes. So let's go ahead and hop into the tutorial of this farm right here. Alright, so the contents of this chest right here are what you will need to build this farm, so everything should be pretty self-explanatory, except you will be needing 13 core of any type. You're also going to need 15 solid building blocks, along with some other temporary blocks that are going to be just for a temporary placement. You're going to need 20 slabs of any kind, and then a couple different types of glass for decoration, or just other standard solid blocks for building. whatever you want to do. Decoration is totally up to you as per usual. So the area that you will need to build this farm is actually going to be a 7x7 area, and this little chute going out right here is going to be where the items will be leaving your farm. So make sure you orientate this correctly going into your storage system or whatever you got for storing, 100,000 pickles. Now you will need to place in all of this packed ice right here to have the bottom circuitry or bottom water stream circuitry, I guess, for collecting all of your items. So that should be pretty self-explanatory for how to build that. So we're going to start just by building up the walls on the sides of all of this just to hold in all the water so it doesn't go flowing everywhere. So that is pretty simple. Just build up glass on all these edges. And then at the back side here, you need 3 solid blocks because you don't actually need ice in these locations to push the items. And something a little bit like that. I think that should be good. You go ahead and place a water bucket in the back there. That should flow to these 2 sides. Place a water bucket there. And also make sure you place a sign there as well, just to hold the water back temporarily. So that's going to take the items from your entire farm and push them out this corner right here, which is exactly what you want. So moving on from the bottom of your farm, what you're going to want to go ahead and do is make yourself a little bit of a diamond right here. So 3x3 in the center of your farm with 1 off to each side. And your coral is actually going to be sitting directly on top of this. But before we put in the coral, make sure you go ahead and place in some temporary blocks directly above this little diamond right here. And that is so that your coral doesn't actually die, because on Bedrock Edition, coral really likes to die a lot. So go ahead and put a full ring of blocks around this as well. These are going to be actually part of your farm, not temporary blocks. So make these out of whatever you want. And then you want to go ahead and get yourself in a dispenser facing downwards directly above the center block right there. Not too difficult whatsoever. So now it's time for your upper wall. So go ahead and place a block off of, your furthest edge out and 2 blocks off from that. So 1, 2 blocks out, 2 blocks out. Do that on this corner as well, if I could place my blocks correctly. And there we go. That should be pretty much that complete. Now you want to go ahead and grab 4 signs. So place these in all of the corners, just like so. And then grab yourself a water bucket. Place that in the very center of your farm. And that is where your cedar pickle is going to be going. Now you can go ahead and remove all of these temporary blocks that you put in the center. In our case, is going to be the iron blocks. And then go ahead and place in all of your coral. And this should ensure that none of your coral ever dies, because coral, like I said, really likes to die very quickly. So time for the final step now. What you need to do is go ahead and place in all of your redstone. So place in some temporary blocks in these locations. Observer facing that way. 2 more temporary blocks right there. Go ahead and remove those 2. And that one, place in a sticky piston facing in towards the farm. Place an observer right there. Remove these 2 blocks. Put in a lever, and bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a functional on and off switch for your farm. So now what you want to do is go ahead and put 2 hoppers going into the side of this dispenser right here. So 1 on either side, and then another one going into that one, and then a chest right here for your bone meal. And you're going to want to keep this thing topped up with bone meal because it does use quite a bit of bone meal. It is 3 stacks of bone meal to 24 stacks of pickles. So that is about 1 bone meal per 8 pickles, which is actually a really high efficiency. And I'm quite happy with it, honestly. So now we can go ahead and place in our first ever ceremonial pickle right there. But before we do that, we should actually go around, surround this top area in some slabs so we don't lose any pickles outside the farm. And I've also gone around the rest of the farm and just filled in the walls and extra blocks. Basically anywhere that I didn't fill in, you should fill in. Just be sure to not block any water streams or anything like that, and you will be just fine. Alrighty, so let's turn this farm on, and as you can see, we get basically buttloads of sea pickles very quickly from this farm, and that is pretty much all there is to it. So I know at the beginning of the video I said I was going to go ahead and do a tutorial for the 35,000 drops per hour farm, but if you watch the tutorial for the 100,000 drops per hour farm, then there is absolutely nothing new here. We have a hopper in each corner going into a chest for item storage, and that is literally it. We have ourselves 2 hoppers going into each other. One of these has an item in them, and that will power your dispenser with bone meal every second, and that's literally it. Like, here's the floor plan if you want to get really nitty gritty, and each of these is just going to be a coral block. So that is pretty much it. Thank you guys ever so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and hope you guys get a lot of use out of this farm. I would suggest building this as soon as you possibly can, because honestly, with Bedrock Edition, who knows what's going to last? This could be broken tomorrow. It could be fully intentional features. I have no idea, but I would also just suggest building the 176,000 kelp per hour kelp farm if you get the time, because that is also a very good build. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like on the video, because it does help out the video on the channel, and also be sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss future stuffs and things, and I'll see you down in the comment section and in the next one. And then there was silence.